Most people don't fail because they don't have a vision. They fail because they don't execute. Welcome to the Uncontested Vision Podcast. I'm your host, Zarin Michael. This podcast isn't just about what I'm building. It's about the journey and the process. The things we're afraid to say out loud. I'm not above that. I deal with that too. But I made a decision to move forward anyway. And if you find yourself in that same space, then you're in the right place. Let's do it together.
Tell me how we get here. Tell me where we finna go. I thought you always be here. You could at least let me know.
At some point, you realize that nobody's going to pull you into that life that you imagine and that you envision for yourself. Nobody's going to come save you. No one's going to be able to bring the vision that you have out more than you. Not your friends, not your family, not your peers, nobody. And when I realized that really changed a lot in my life. But I also accepted and realized the fact that it was much bigger than me too. That gave me that extra motivation, that extra inspiration, knowing that if I'm able to, I know how difficult it was for me to unlock it in my mind, but I was able to do that. So for the people that are still going through that same kind of conditioning and struggle that I've been through, it's my responsibility and my calling, my purpose to share my journey along the way, to break everybody out of that mindset. In this season, we're on season 3. We appreciate y'all for tapping in. It's a little different. You kind of can get the glimpses from season 2 and be able to kind of see how I've gotten to this point. But this season is about straight intention. Of course, it'll be about the process and my mindset and just everything that I went through to kind of get to the art that I've been able to display and put out on wax. But I also realized that for some reason, it took so long for me to finally unlock it in my mind just because I was afraid. I was afraid to be seen in that version that I always thought, I always saw myself in that light. But I was afraid because I knew that it would change a lot of things. It would change my circle. It would change a lot of my habits, even though some of them were unhealthy and undisciplined. It would just change that state that I was in, that comfortability. And it would challenge me. A lot of us don't go, we don't react well to pressure. When you get in the gym, a lot of times you'll go to the gym and you leave the gym hurting. You hurting bad. So something in your mind just tell you, I don't want to go back, or I'll go back next week. But you got to go through pain to grow. You got to go through those things to learn and become the best version of yourself. Now, this chapter, of course, the last time we was here, the last time I was able to share my life with you guys, a lot of the focus was on the Anakin project. And that received great reviews. I appreciate everybody that tapped in and was able to listen into that story and in that world with me. Anakin, of course, was just me and everything that I had to overcome. Again, leaning into that. I had to stop feeling shame for who I was. I had to stop feeling guilt for the thoughts that I had. And I had to just really more so lean on God, and that allowed me to grow that confidence in who I was as a man. And that's not perfect, and I'm not perfect, right? So that's the kind of the story of Anakin, just understanding that we're going to go through trials and tribulations, and we're going to have those internal conflicts and battles, and we're not perfect. Only Jesus was perfect, but he wouldn't put us through anything we can't endure. We're here to push through and to get through it and become stronger on that other side. And we're not a bad person or a bad guy for having thoughts that may question the way we live in, That's just what growth is. You're going to always go through those questions and those feelings of, if I'm doing this the right way, am I, I'm worried about what everybody else is going to view me as, or their feelings or emotions. That's what being human is, But Anakin was that evolution for me, standing on my own and just realizing that I was really created in God's light, and there was no need to continue to be ashamed of that. Now this next chapter is a deeper chapter, Unspoken Words, which comes out, which by the time this comes out, it'll already be out. But Unspoken Words out. Let's just say Unspoken Words out now on all platforms, all streaming platforms. I appreciate everybody that's been able to tap in and share the project and dive into that world with me as well. But Unspoken Words it's a deeper story, man. It's just talking about all the things that we're just so afraid to say out loud, all the things that we're afraid to admit to ourselves or to our peers or friends. Those thoughts that we have, those internal conflicts and thoughts that just challenge life in the way that we are, or the way that we're being. I essentially, kind of went through a situation in which this happened for me, and I didn't really realize what I wanted in life. It took me kind of exploring and falling down and almost losing life and losing things in my life to understand the needs and the wants that I actually had, and understanding it again, going back into that Anakin chapter. It's not wrong for me to have these needs or wants. That's okay, That's not. Of course, we always put negative connotations on things, use words like selfish and things like that, but you actually seek and find true happiness when you're able to be honest with yourself and the others around you, and not let it all in. So that's what Unspoken Words is. With that being said, a lot of these tracks is just, I consider every song that I make to be a movie, a world that you can immerse yourself in and visualize. And a lot of my projects, a lot of the music I make are movie influenced. So of course we got Anakin. That project is influenced by Star Wars and Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And then of course Unspoken Words is actually influenced by The Matrix. So a lot of the rollout and a lot of the content I've put out for Unspoken Words, you'll maybe see like green tones, green palettes, glitches, things like that. That's all The Matrix. And I realized that I connect to characters within film that have these internal battles and conflicts, like myself. So it makes sense, right? It's a natural connection. But I realized I connected with those films and those things the most, and it allowed me to, as I watched those films, as I created these projects, it allowed me to dive deep into who I was and explore different themes within myself, and just be honest with myself on, again, what I really wanted and where I was at, how lost I was, how in the Matrix I was, like most of us are. And these things are, that's the crazy part about movies and film. Like, you connect to them because they're real life. These things are all around us today. I noticed earlier that I was picking up my phone and I was just scrolling. Now some clicked in my mind, like, bro, you could be getting some work done, so I didn't throw my phone in frustration. But we're just so conditioned to these things and to this matrix of wanting to work for others and wanting to be consumers. We're more than that. You feel me? Like, we're more than that. We creators, we artists. Our life is art in itself. But the crazy thing is, again, with the unspoken words, once you say it, it becomes real. You can't hide from it no more. You gotta strive and be confident and walk in those steps every single day. And that's what I had to realize. But like I said, that's why Anakin and Unspoken Words and Matrix resonated with me so much, because that idea of waking up, finally seeing things differently, finally having that vision be uncontested, finally having that clarity on what your purpose is and how you should be moving. But as I continue to talk about the film influences I have, and as you know, I started my acting journey last year, I had to realize that, like I said, man, my life is art. my life is art in a sense of it's not just music, but I can explore these stories through music, through film, through this podcast here, through different forms of media, and that's the main goal of Uncontested Vision, right? A creative studio, with the ability to provide cinematic storytelling and concepts for the world. With that, as we've rolled out this Unspoken Words project, it's a whole world, it's a whole thing. So with that, I just actually released my second episode of my mini series today called The Assessment, and it'll finalize with a third episode, which will likely drop next week. But the whole concept of that is, let me backtrack. Well, let me actually skip forward a bit. So this year I plan on releasing a short film called Unspoken Words, right? And it'll be based on the concepts that we've just described. It'll connect to the music EP that you guys can hear on all streaming platforms right now. And I've also been releasing, again, my mini series called The Assessment. Now, The Assessment is introducing the character of Devin, who I'll be starring as in the short film of Unspoken Words. This allows the audience and you guys, my supporters, to get connected to the character, attempt to understand the character, and to peel back layers of the character prior to the film, so you can kind of understand where my mindset is, and just who he is, or I guess in a sense who I am, but who he is as a person within this world. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I know it may be, I try to do things that don't look like everybody else's, right? So again, cinematic, that's the goal. And just kind of put out whatever ideas come to my head. So the assessment is, of course, an AI, right? And an AI assessor. And the AI is asking questions and providing therapy for Devin. So, which I'm sure, mark this, I'm sure in 20 years, that's what life's going to be. AI taking over all the jobs. So I could definitely see an AI therapist here in the near future, probably before 20 years, for real. But I came up with that, and I just knew that this would be cool to kind of peel back those layers. And again, kind of taking you into that Matrix feel, right? That Matrix world. So if you haven't got a chance to check it out, make sure you check that out. That's on all my social media pages, my LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, and of course YouTube as well. And then also probably once we get the final release out, I'm gonna piece it all together so you guys can watch it all in one whop. But let me know what you guys think. If you have already watched it, comment and let me know what you think. Again, I appreciate all the support that you guys have given me, and I'm just excited to continue to create. So you're gonna see a lot from me, and pretty often. Hopefully you don't get tired of me. Hopefully you get inspired, and that pushes you to do what you want to do. Create. Life is art, man. Be an artist, whatever you are, whether you do music, whether you paint, whether you take photos, whether you're a videographer, whatever you want to do, just go do it today and do it every day. Don't waste no time. Don't tell yourself you got tomorrow to do it, or you can knock it out at another time. Life is short, and we don't never know how long we got on this earth, and we want to leave. And at least for me, I'm sure you guys do as well. It's just maybe hard to say or admit out loud. You want to leave something behind, right? Right? I'm sure you do. So I know you do for a fact. If you're watching this, if you tapped in with us, you're a visionary and you're part of the Uncontested Vision family. So if you're watching this, I know you do. So take that. That's a personal message for you. I'm talking directly to you. But speaking again of Uncontested Vision and everything that I had to build, or that I'm building, and who I had to become, I had to realize that I had to change a lot of things within my circles as well, within my friendships and the people that was around me. Everything in my life just has to be intentional at this point. Like, I can't waste no more breath. I can't waste no more time. So if we, are not pushing each other forward and then helping each other advance in whatever lane or area that is in a positive and impactful way, then it's no point. It's no point to conversate. It's no point to conversate. If we ain't making money together, if we ain't building, we're not wasting no more time, it's that's over with. So I realized And I just had to realize too, within that, like, who was real, like who was a real friend, like who could I really call on and who could I build with, who could I build in my life with. So you got to understand that not everyone is meant to move with you on every stage. Your environment is either going to help support your vision or it's going to pull you further away from it. So make sure that you evaluate that circle today. If you got to make some cuts, if you got to make some trim, do what you got to do, and don't feel shame for that. But like I said too, just life, man, my life being art in that instance of just realizing I couldn't continue to separate the two. So just knowing that everything I did, it had to be timeless. Whether it was music, whether it's the film, miniseries, books, whatever I'm working on, it just got to be timeless. It has to have that impact on others that I know that I can have, and I know that God has put me on this earth to instill in those that I love. The difference now, if you're watching this, if you tapped into the Unspoken Words world, we're not going to leave things unspoken no more. We confident in the fact that we can express our emotions in a creative way, or even if not creative, in a way that instills confidence in who we are. You are created in God's image. Don't let no one tell you anything different. You are great. No matter what you're doing right now, whether you work waiting tables, whether you work in a 9-to-5, working from home, you have the potential to be great. Just keep going. Don't stop. Whatever your goals are, keep building towards those every day, even if it's just 1%. Don't ever let nobody make no excuses for or give you an excuse. Don't ever let anyone instill excuses in you. And do not take advice from anybody whose life you don't want. I'm going to repeat that. Do not take advice from anybody's life that you don't want. And that can be anybody. Like that's no disrespect. Like from family to moms to dads to brothers to sisters. If they not in the position that you envision for your life, it don't matter. Their advice don't matter. Keep building. And you be the one. You be the one to break that generational curse for your family. You be the one. You take on that responsibility. Like I take on the responsibility for my family. I accepted that long ago. I wasn't really in a position to accept that, but I always had that mindset. Now, with me being intentional every day, I put myself in that position to continue to work and build and be that inspiration and influence for my family. If you're watching this right now, this is your sign to stop waiting and do it now. Again, I appreciate you guys for tapping in with me. If you've been tapped in, keep tapping in. We got more stories on the way. Thank you guys for the support of the mini series, the assessment. Thank you guys for the support of Unspoken Words EP. Let me know, comment your favorite song and your favorite track. Let me know what y'all feeling. And we got so much more tuned for your head top. What Drizzy say? We got so much more music to come. We got so much more of just creative collaborations and just so much more on the horizon. So we thank y'all for staying tapped in with me. It's your boy Super, and we out.
Tell me how we get here. Tell me where we finna go. I thought you always be here. You could at least let me know.